A crucial and probably the most important part of any website is its navigation structure. You already know how difficult it can be to create a good functional navigation menu or a header in general, and more importantly, how time-consuming this can be. I have to tell you that you don't have to do this by hand. There are tools that you can use that will handle this for you very easily, so your development time can be then spent much more productively solving problems that only you can solve. This is exactly what I want to show you in this video, how to create complex mega menus and footers using Blocksy WordPress theme. Let's dig in. Before we get into the code, I want to mention that this video is sponsored by Blocksy, and Blocksy is the most innovative, lightning fast, and supercharged WordPress theme. You're going to find the link in the description. You can try it out for free, and Blocksy also offers premium tiers that will give you more advanced features that you'll surely love. Blocksy is a fantastic full-featured theme for the WordPress, and it would be too much to go over all the options that you have available within Blocksy in this video, so I will focus on header and footer sections, which are, in my opinion, one of the most difficult and complex parts of any website if you want to get them right and if you don't want to spend a ton of your precious time to actually set everything up properly. I won't show you here how to download it and install it. It's all very simple and straightforward. You just need a couple of clicks. Already know how to do that. So I will jump straight into the admin and show you really quickly what Blocksy is about. All right, this is the demo site I have set up and Blocksy is already installed. And this is the Blocksy dashboard that will give you a clear idea of how many features are packed into this fantastic theme. Blocksy comes with a number of options, and as I already mentioned, we're going to focus on header and footer options because I found those really fascinating and really good. But just so you know, there's a ton of other stuff that you can do with Blocksy. If you want to quickly set up a landing page, use one of the starter sites. There are plenty of options here and they're really good and really well done. For this demo, I'm using Invest Boost, this one right here, because it showcases really nicely how powerful header and footer sections are. You also have extensions here that are packed with developer-friendly features that you're gonna love. I'll single out a couple of extensions here that I find really interesting. First one is cookie consent feature, and you probably don't want this, but you do need it to comply with the privacy regulations in various countries, and in Blocksy you can easily enable this and customize it, but we won't go into this right here. Next feature that I want to show you is local Google fonts, and this can be handy from the performance perspective, but also to comply with the GDPR regulations. You may not want to serve fonts directly from the Google API. You want to do this locally, and Blocksy enables you to do this with a few simple clicks. I'm not going to open advanced menu here because we're going to go deep into that a little bit later, but I will show you a color mode switch, because if you're a developer like me, you probably love dark mode and you want to offer your users the ability to switch from light to dark mode. With Blocksy, you can do this very easily. And of course, there is a possibility to inject custom code snippets into your site. And this is really handy if you want to tweak some options beyond just the basics, beyond what's available in the custom theme. And as a developer, I'm sure you will want to use this. If you're using WordPress, you're probably using a number of plugins, and with Blocksy, you can immediately install the important ones right from this screen. And if you want to see what's new in Blocksy, you can see the changelog, and I encourage you to do so because you're going to see that Blocksy is updated regularly. So this is not a stale theme that hasn't been updated in years. You can be certain that you will get updates, from security updates to bug fixes and even to new features. All right, let's get into the header options and see how easy it is to create complex navigation structures and more for your websites. I will open the customize page from the appearance menu, and here I will select the header options. First up, let's accept this cookie notice. We did enable it a little bit earlier, so it's already working. And this right here is your header editor. Before I show you how to work with it, I'm going to show you how it actually looks on a live website. This might not be immediately obvious, but this is a really complex and really advanced menu. I'm going to hover services item here, and you're going to see a mega dropdown appear here. I'm sure that you can immediately tell how much code is required to create something like this. And then we have this item right here. This is an off-canvas menu. You can often see this pattern on mobile devices, but right here you're going to see it on desktop as well. Another thing that I'm going to show is that this is actually a sticky menu that changes design as you scroll. And of course, I'm going to show you how to create this as well. Another thing that I have to mention about this menu here is that you don't have to worry about the accessibility because this is already built in Blocksy, just as it should be. I'm going to hit the tab key here and show you that you can tap over all the items, and for the drop down, you can open it using the enter key. just as you should. And just as well, you can easily open the off-canvas menu using keyboard navigation, and you can tap through all the items that are relevant here. Hitting the escape key will close the off-canvas menu exactly as it should be. So by default, this is going to be accessible and you won't have to worry about making your menus accessible for your users. All right, let's jump back into the header editor so I can show you exactly how it works. Here we are, and you're going to see a couple of sections here. If you hover over this one, you're going to see that this is off-canvas area. And here we have a top row, main row, and a bottom row. So you can very easily create complex menus with multiple rows just by dragging and dropping elements right here. As you see, we already have a logo here. I can just click on it, and in the sidebar, I will see all the options available for this element, in this case, a logo. Just as well, I can click on the menu here, and this is actually a default menu that's coming from WordPress. So this is working natively with WordPress exactly as you would expect. By now, you already understand that you can tweak options of any element if you just click on it, and this is exactly what we will do with the trigger here. This trigger element is actually this icon right here that opens the off-canvas menu. And if you select it, you will be able to tweak all its options. A really cool thing about Blocksy is that you have 3 rows available for your menus, which means that you can very easily create very complex navigation patterns or header structures. Let's say I want to add a search box here. So I'll just find it in my elements and drag it right here to the top row to the right. Immediately as I do that, it will appear on the page. Now, if I select it, I can tweak its design because this is obviously not really ideal. I want to add a little bit more spacing. So I'm going to open top row options, and here I will increase the row height just so I can add a little bit more breathing room to this element. Now, design here is not ideal, so I want to tweak the colors here. And as you suspected, if you click on the element and go to the design tab here, you can tweak anything that you want. So first, I will tweak the input border color. I'll select something that's more subtle, and I will tweak the text here because this is not really readable or accessible. So I will change the input color in the default state to something a little bit lighter, and then focused. Let's go for the pure white, so it's obvious when the search box is actually focused. I will do exactly the same thing with the icon. And here, instead of picking the color manually, I'll just select one of the colors that is already defined for my theme. This one is going to work really nicely, and this is exactly what you should do. You can immediately see which CSS custom property is responsible for which color, which means that your design will be more consistent if you use colors that are already available in your theme. So that is exactly what I'm going to do here. I'll select this color for my default state, and I'll select this color, color 8, which is going to be this CSS custom property for my focus state. Of course, I want to tweak my font color as well. I don't want to have a bunch of different colors all over my design. I want to have a nice palette that works well together, and Blocksy allows me to do just that. So I can select the color that works with this design, and I don't have to worry about certain parts not looking consistent. If you want to tweak the colors you have available for the theme, you can easily do that if you go back to general options and then select colors. Here are the colors that are available for this theme. You can switch to a different color palette. Here are the nice predefined palettes that you can immediately use, or you can tweak the existing color palette and perhaps add your own color. It's really simple and really intuitive. Whenever you're working with colors, use the global color options and you will be certain that your design will stay consistent. Let's get back to our header options, and let me show you another cool option that you have at your disposal, and this is a color switch. Again, you can just drag and drop it wherever you want. Let me put it here on our main row between my trigger and menu 1. There it is. It's already working. As you see, obviously the colors need a little bit of tweaking, but if you want to create a color switcher component, you can easily do that. You can just drag and drop it, and then you just tweak the options that you have at your disposal. I'm going to increase the size of this icon a bit, and I'm going to reverse it because currently we are in the dark mode, so this is going to be our default state. Another thing that I want to mention about the header is that you can tweak desktop and tablet or mobile options separately. So right here in the bottom tab, you can select tablet, and you're going to see exactly how your menu looks on tablet or even on mobile. A really cool thing about Blocksy is that you can define separate options for tablet or mobile header. So as you see, we only have 2 elements, logo and trigger, for the tablet and mobile view, while on desktop we have a little bit more because desktop gives us a little bit more room to work with. Now you know how to work with the header element in general, how to add elements, how to tweak them from design to options. But what about those complex menu items like we have here, services, or even this off-canvas menu that has this nice call to action? Let's shape the future of your investments. Well, this is actually really simple to set up. The trigger element opens the off-canvas menu, and you can see its options, its elements right here in the off-canvas area. I'm going to click settings. Here you can tweak the general options from design to functionality, and for the elements that are inside of this off-canvas menu, you just drag and drop them right here. We have a mobile menu navigation item, and we have a content block. And this content block is actually created within Blocksy. So this is the option that we have selected here, off-canvas menu element. And I'm going to just quickly publish this. I'm going to go back to the WordPress admin, and I'm going to select content blocks from the Blocksy menu. Here are all the blocks that I've created that I can use within Blocksy specific sections. And this is my off-canvas menu content. I'm going to open it. As you can clearly see, this is just a regular template that I can tweak however I want. So instead of start now, maybe I can say subscribe now. I'm going to save this. And now when I open the off-canvas menu, I'm going to see the updated button. You probably already noticed that we have services mega menu right here. And if I open it, you can see that this is exactly what we have in our content in our menu item. You can again tweak it here and create a separate mega menu that works exactly as you want, that has any amount of content. This is how powerful this feature is within Blocksy. Let me return back to the admin, and if you're wondering, the services mega menu is of course part of the regular menu in the appearance section. Here it is. This is the services top tier menu item, and this is the sub menu mega menu content block. If you want to add a specific Blocksy content block to your menu, you can use a custom link just as an anchor link. I'm going to add it. I'm going to move it under my news item. I'm going to open menu item settings. And here I can select a content block. And then, of course, I can select a content block that I want to use exactly in this place. I'm going to use services mega menu. All right, we don't really need two exactly the same mega menus. So I'm going to remove this, and let's move back to our customizer, to our header options, and I'm going to show you something really cool. And these are the options to set up sticky menu. I'm going to switch to the headers tab here, and I'm going to open global header. In Blocksy, it's really easy to tweak various settings for your sticky menu. By default, only main row of the menu will be sticky. So our search bar, which is in top row, will not be sticky. If I scroll down, it's going to disappear. But for example, if I change it to top and main row, then my search bar will also be sticky. Of course, I will have to tweak design for this, which is of course trivial to do with just a few clicks. But as a rule of thumb, if you're using a sticky menu, you only want a main row to be sticky. By default, Blocksy will do exactly this. You can change the effect of the sticky menu, and I'm going to select slide down. I like this one. Once I scroll a bit down on the page, the menu will slide down. You already see how easy it is to tweak various options and make sticky menu work exactly as you want. As with all options in Blocksy, you can enable the sticky menu on desktop or on mobile. I'm going to turn it off for mobile. I don't really want it there. And just as well, I can tweak the conditions for the menu itself within WordPress. I can enable it only for certain pages, or I can exclude it for certain pages. For example, by default, you can see that this is excluded for 404 pages. Pretty handy. If you're working with code, and I'm sure you are, then you know how much effort it takes to actually build something like this. You need to handle CSS, you need to handle functionality, you need to add a bunch of JavaScript, then you have to think about mobile or desktop versions. Well, with Blocksy, you get this all out of the box. You only need to tweak a few settings to make the menu work exactly for your use case, exactly as you want. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that we will talk about footer functionality as well. So let me show you how this works. As you probably expect, this is very similar to the header functionality. I'm going to select a footer option here, and my footer again offers 3 rows: bottom row, middle row, and top row. I'll scroll down here, and this is the footer for this particular page, and it might not be obvious, but this is actually an advanced mega footer, not a simple footer that we have here on the page. Let me publish this and return to WordPress admin. I will again select content blocks from Blocksy, And here is the footer that I'm actually using for this page. I'll open it. And again, you have the full page editor at your disposal to create the footer. And this can be then repeated on all pages as it currently is. So I'm not going to tweak it right here. You already know how to do that, but I will show you how to actually edit conditions and exclude this footer for our front page. Now, if I save this, I can actually use the footer from the footer editor within the customizer. Again, to make it clear, this is the more powerful option if you want to create an advanced mega footer. But if you want some basic footer functionality, then you can just use options that are available within the customizer under appearance. Let's go back to customize and to footer settings. I'm going to scroll down here and you're going to see that right now my copyright is already here on the page. Again, I can add any number of items to my top, middle, and bottom rows, and that is exactly what I will do. In a footer, you will commonly find social items, and that is what I will add. Here to my middle row on the right, I want to tweak this, make those icons a little bit bigger or a lot a bit bigger. Maybe I'll tweak the spacing a bit as well. And now I realize that I don't have to have a separate row for my social icons. I can have both copyright and my icons in the same row. And to do that, I will tweak the row settings and select 2 columns. I'll just drop the socials down here. And now I will have to tweak the sizing and positioning a little bit. Maybe align this to right. And there we go. My footer is already looking much nicer. Essentially, this is how easy it is to tweak header and footer settings in Blocksy. Again, as I mentioned, if you want advanced, complex, mega footers, then use content blocks available within Blocksy. But if you want to use a simple footer, you can easily customize the footer options. Another option that I want to showcase here that appears as a footer, but it's actually not, is this bottom row right here. And this is the shortcuts bar. Usually, if you have a website that offers a service, you want to have a contact info readily available, maybe a phone button. If you click it on mobile, it will immediately open the phone application and call the number that you provided here. This is really handy if you're asking me specifically on mobile devices. So I will tweak it here and I will hide this from desktop. I'll only use it on mobile and tablet. And instead of home, maybe I want to have an email contact right here. So I'll just remove home and leave email and my phone contacts available right here. Sometimes the icons are not clear enough, so you might want to enable labels, and we can of course easily do that. Or on desktop, when the users will hover those icons with a mouse, then they will get a nice tooltip. Oh, of course, if you enable it. Of course, you can tweak those items additionally. You can add your own email here or change the icon. There is a ton of fantastic icons available in Blocksy, so make use of those. All right, now that I'm looking at this, it's not really ideal, but luckily it's very easy to tweak this for mobile devices. So let me jump back to the footer customization here, bottom row, and let's tweak tablet and mobile views and align copyright and icons a little bit better. Immediately as I click around here, you see that on desktop we have 2 columns, and on mobile and tablet we have 2 columns but stacked. So I do want to align those differently. I will select my copyright item here, and for my tablet view, I already have it pre-selected here. This is my desktop, this is my tablet. I can align it center just as well with my socials. For the tablet view, I can align it to center. This is looking much better now. Maybe I just want to reduce a spacing a little bit here. So if you want to add an additional layer of user experience for your mobile and tablet users, and you should, then you can utilize the shortcuts bar available in Blocksy. Of course, Blocksy comes with a number of other items, and they are all as intuitive and as simple as the one I showed you here. So look around, play with the options, and see what all is possible with Blocksy. The bottom line is that if you want to create complex, beautiful mega menus and footers easily, trivially, then use the Blocksy team. You're going to find the link in the description. There's plenty of options available in the free version, but I do recommend that you check out their pro version as well, because it does come with a ton of fantastic options, and I did show you a number of those in this video. I didn't specifically mention which options are available only in the pro tier, but you should get a pro tier regardless. If you want to build a landing page for your product, website, or site project effortlessly, use the Blocksy theme, and especially if you want to create complex menu and footer structures, because Blocksy makes this really trivial, really easy, and really enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks so much to Blocksy for sponsoring. I will see and hear you in a different mega menu, or rather, in the next video.